Hi guys, I was gonna make another video about the whole Conor Benn thing, but it's gotten boring. We all know Conor Benn's a cheat, and that's all we need to know. Don't really care about his response or nothing like that. Who cares? This video is just a general run about the scoring system in boxing and why it needs to be changed and why it probably won't be changed. In most sports, scoring is objective and specific. A goal is a goal, a try is a try. In boxing, though, things get a little too blurry, and that leads to loads of dodgy decisions. But the problem, it isn't with any one individual decision, it's with the whole system. The whole system's messed, and it's not that the scoring is subjective, it's that it's too subjective. And maybe it would be okay if it was subjective, but the fact is that there's not even no clear um, understanding of what wins a fight. Ask two boxing fans to judge a fight, and you will most likely get two different answers. And the fact that scoring is subjective also, it plays into our biases. We subconsciously concentrate more on our favorite fighter and see more of their shots. That's just human nature. And furthermore, in boxing, arenas, judges will be swayed by not only their own biases but the crowd as well. The crowd favorite's always going to get a louder reaction, and therefore lead to them believing the shots were more substantial than they actually were. Some boxing judges prefer come forward fighters, whereas others focus on the volume of punches thrown, regardless if they're on the back foot or not. Most judges won't class two punches as the same based on the damage they perceive it doing to an opponent, which is again highly subjective. Marketing also plays a part in this whole thing. A fighter who's supposed to win will most likely win a close decision because he generates the most money, and generates the most money even for the judges, so they can keep on doing what they do. And obviously as well, it plays into the bias as well, because the favorite is gonna be, his face is gonna be everywhere, his name's going first, so they'll probably think what he's doing in the ring is more substantial, because we are creatures of bias. We are not as objective as we like to think. And the big part of it as well is money. Money rules everything, and I do believe that 90% of incorrect scoring decisions are not just because judges are being nefarious, but they're using boxing subjectivity to their advantage. They know that they can back up most any scorecard they come up with if they use the right words, because technically there's no right or wrong. In fights that there's no clear winner, and in fights that there is a grey area, you can always justify your person winning, that you chose, who won more rounds on your scorecards. And in fights that there is a clear winner, who was landing more punches, the judges could say like, oh, he wasn't coming forward as much as the other fighter. And they could also say that although he threw more punches, they weren't landed as effectively or cleanly as the other fighter. Of course, you can rewatch the fight and explain how they're wrong, but because boxing is open to opinion, they will always be able to justify theirs somehow. So the problem is with the system, not just the judges. The system is the rotten tree, and the judges are the bad apples. And the fact that there's no real attempt has been made to make the scoring of fights more objective is to do with just money, and it's why nobody wants to change this. It's a godsend for promoters. Imagine if in a football match you could justify your team winning even though they scored less goals. Imagine if it was like, yeah, the other team scored more goals, but our team played better, they had more possession or better teamwork, even though we lost. Like, imagine if any other sport had subjective scoring. It would be amazing for the managers, for the promoters, because they can essentially control the narrative. It's easier to pay off the judges and come up with a reason why their team won, and then they basically never have to lose, as opposed to referees in football where they have to just, it's objective, so whichever team won. And so it is mostly about money, but like, it's just that if they have an opportunity to rig a fight in the favor of the cash cow, they will, because their jobs rely on it. And especially if it was somewhat a close fight, it's most likely going to go in favor of the fighter who generates the most revenue. Um, so that's the problem with boxing and the system in general. And there's been so many bad decisions as of late. Um, so I'm not just going to sit here and complain. I want to figure out how we can clean up this mess. But I don't know exactly the way we can, and sometimes it feels like we probably can't. There's bound to be a system we can use to calculate who won a fight objectively. There's so many like technological advancements and methods now that we don't even need to rely on the biased opinions of three guys who probably never fought in their life. I'm not saying that technology is the answer. I'm just saying there's got to be a way that we can change this. I'm not sure exactly how to make the change, but there is a need for one, and we as a community need to fight for it. Even if the judges just face more scrutiny as to why they judge the fight a certain way, I'd settle for that, because these days we don't even get that. Judges can have as wide a scorecard as they like, and they barely have to justify it, and we just like accept it even if it's obviously incorrect. And like the last few years, the amount of bad decisions is actually shocking. And the people in position of power, the reporters, the fighters, the people that care about this issue, we all need to come together and demand a change from the top level to the bottom level. We need more accountability in this sport, because people put their lives on the line, and all too often they get wronged. There's so many decisions that should be overturned, but they won't be. There's fights that have been so obviously incorrectly judged, that it makes me like so angry that we just collectively move on and forget about it. It's terrible, and we need to make a change. And it's not up to us to make the change. It's up to us to push for the change. Because we don't. I don't have the answers, but I know that there's a lot of things that need to be changed. And essentially, the people in power, if they listen to us, they can look into ways to make things better. The issue and the underlying theme in all this is that money rules everything, and so most likely there won't be much change, and there will be many more um, terrible decisions, and we as a boxing community will get upset about it for a few days, weeks maybe, and then we'll forget about it, and then we'll move on, and that's just how it goes. And so that's how this keeps on going. So I hope to make this video, and along with many others that have been made on the topic by other creators, and we can just hopefully push for a change ever so slowly, because obviously it's going to be slow. I haven't seen any attempt by anyone to sort out the corruption in boxing, sort out the bad decisions in boxing. But if we can push for it, it's important. So I mean, like this video, share this video. We need to get these kinds of videos out into the public, so people understand that all these bad decisions that have been happening, we're not going to stand for them, and we don't recognize them as correct. Obviously in the thumbnail you see Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall. That's just one example of many fights that have just been so badly judged and just mind-blowing. So yeah, like this video, share this video, subscribe. We need to have our voice heard. But anyway, take care, guys.